Last time we ran Stantler, we finished with a 149.02 in 4th place. A lot's changed since then, so let's see how we get on this time. Now, as we're getting into this challenge, I do just want to say there are going to be a couple of visual changes to Stantler's sprites in this challenge. The base stats and the learn sets are exactly the same. It is just an aesthetic change because we're in the Christmas season, so please do not worry, we're not going to have an artificial advantage with Stantler in this challenge. It's still going to be the regular old Stantler that we all know and love. And before we get into the challenge, I would love to know, how much time do you think we're going to save? It's pretty much guaranteed we're going to save a fair chunk of time, but let's start by taking a look at our stats. We're level 5 with 23 HP, holding a berry, and our only move is tackle. We've got 16 in attack, 12 in defense, 15 in special attack, 13 in special defense, and 15 in speed. Those are the stats we're running with for this Stantler. Let's get the graphics up, and let's get the challenge underway. You may notice the graphics have a little bit of a festive update. At the time this video goes out, we are well into the Christmas season, so I thought it'd be nice to give a little bit of a festive touch. Now, our first wild Pokemon was a level 3 Pidgey. We knock it out in 2 shots and we can take on the first rival battle. For this challenge, I decided to give the rival the Totodile line. We don't really have a great Pokemon for Stantler to go up against, but I think Totodile's high bulk might prove to be the biggest threat. We have a very easy rival one though, and that means we can take on Falkner. He's our first gym leader, a flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. So 2 shots with tackle on the Pidgey, and up comes the Pidgeotto. We're going to look at it funny with Leah once, and that means Pidgeotto is now a 2-shot. Our tackle doesn't miss, and we get our first badge with Sprout Tower. In a time of 7 minutes and 26 seconds, let's take on Bugsy. We've upgraded tackle to Swift for this battle. That's not only a little bit more powerful, but it's also 100% accurate, and it gets us through both of the Cocoon Pokemon. Fury Cutter misses on turn number 1, we critical hit on turn number 2, we grow to level 18 and we obtain the Hive badge in 13 minutes and 38 seconds. And I tell you what, it's the Christmas season, so let's keep these celebrations going as we go around the corner. This is where we're going to get ambushed by rival number 2. He's going to lead, of course, with Ghastly. We've got Mud Slap on the learn set, we'll use that, we take it out in 1 shot. Up next is Zubat. We'll use Swift, that's another 1-shot, the final Pokemon is Croconaw, and it would have been a 3 shots, but we get critical hits in all of the right places. And that means we can move on to our 3rd gym together. This is Whitney's normal type gym, and she's going to lead with Clefairy. We've upgraded Swift to Headbutt at this point, and it's a 2-shot on Clefairy. And now Miltank does something I did not expect. She's gone for Attract on turn 1. In the end though, it is meaningless for her. We got very lucky there, and we obtain our 3rd badge in 18 minutes and 29 seconds. Let's move on to rival number 3. I'm taking a big risk in this challenge, because instead of Hidden Power Ground, I'm going for Hidden Power Ice. And that means we could have some tricky rival battles ahead. We're on a clock because of the Haunter. We do 1-shot the Magnemite because it's 4 times weak to ground. We'll headbutt the Zubat, and the last Pokemon is Croconaw. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Croconaw as we take some curse damage and some bite damage, but we get through first try in 23 minutes and 8 seconds. We'll fall through the floor and end up in front of Morty. He's our 4th gym leader, a dual Ghost and Poison Spectacular leader who leads with Ghastly. We'll use Hidden Power, it's a 1-shot on the Ghastly, so he sends out Haunter. Hypnosis misses, and that means we're on a clock for the rest of the battle. We 2-shot the Haunter as Gengar comes into play. Once again, we don't send it to sleep, we get sent to sleep, and we have to take a reset. Let's try that again, shall we? It's always annoying when we get bad RNG at Morty, but that just means things have to get better on this attempt. We get through the Haunter this time without being on a clock. We're on to the Gengar, we send it to sleep first try, and then we'll get to Hidden Power. We're going to need to use 3 Hidden Powers to knock it out. We grow to level 29 as the last Haunter comes out. We've got Mud Slap, we'll use that on turn 1, we finish it off with Hidden Power, and we are through Morty in a time of 26 minutes and 53 seconds. Let's take on Chuck. He is the fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. We'll headbutt Primeape as it goes for Fury Swipes, we knock it out in 2, and the Poliwrath comes out to play. We send the Poliwrath to sleep, he uses a full heal, we'll knock it out with 3 headbutts, and we are through the most threatening gym leader on our first try in 31 minutes and 27 seconds. We do the rocket section and we end up in front of Price. Price is an Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal that's already gone down, and Dugong follows it in much the same way. The last Pokemon is Piloswine, we'll headbutt it on turn 1, Blizzard doesn't freeze, we knock it out in turn 2, and that's the Glacier badge in 40 minutes and 13 seconds. And that means we can move on to Jasmine. She is our penultimate Johtonian gym leader, a Steel-type specialist who leads with Magnemite. Magnemite is not the issue in this battle though, that goes to Steelix. We can get through the Magnemite fairly easily with a soft sand boosted Mud Slap. This Steelix, however, is going to be a pain. It has Iron Tail that can lower our already quite weak defences, and it will just annihilate us. Time after time after time, no matter what we did, this Steelix would not go down. Hidden Power's not capable of two-shotting it, she'll heal up, and then she will hit us again and again with Iron Tail. All we need for this battle is for Iron Tail to miss or for the Steelix to take an extended nap, and it just wasn't happening in our first couple of attempts. We try again, we use Mud Slap to lower the Steelix's accuracy just in case it wakes up. Then we'll swap to Hidden Power after we've used our Mud Slaps to try and finish it off in one. But you'll see that even with all those accuracy drops, that Steelix hit us with an Iron Tail yet again. We do get through Jasmine in a time of 42 minutes and 54 seconds. We'll say goodbye to her, we'll say nasty things under our breath as we leave. So we'll alleviate some of the frustration by doing some retail therapy here in Goldenrod City. While we're doing it, of course, the rival has to ambush us for a 4th time. We don't mind though, we one-shot his first 2 Pokemon, and then Haunter knocks itself out. That brings us very nicely onto Sneasel Pleasel. We'll use Headbutt on that and knock it out in 1. The last Pokemon is for Alligator. We'll take a little bit of curse damage as we flinch it on turn 1, we knock it out on turn 2. And we are through Rival 4 in just shy of 49 minutes. Let's take on Claire. She is our final Johtonian gym leader, a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. Return is going to be a one-shot on all 3 of the Dragonair as we eventually grow to level 46, so we can turn our attention to the Kingdra. We'll use Hidden Power on turn 1 and then we'll finish it off with a Return. That way we avoid the healing loop on the Kingdra, we save some time, we defeat Claire and obtain her badge in 55 minutes and 23 seconds. And that means we have all 8 Johtonian gym badges acquired. Let's take on the rival for one final time. This time he's going to lead with Sneasel Pleasel. It's a one-shot with Return on the Sneasel, so he sends out Golbat, returns another one-shot, we grow to level 48, and here comes Magneton. We've got Earthquake, so Steel types are no longer an issue, and we'll continue Earthquaking against the Haunter. The penultimate Pokemon is Kadabra, will use Return to one-shot, and then finally he's got for Alligator. Return isn't quite a one-shot, so we'll knock it out in 2. We say goodbye to the rival for one last time in 58 minutes and 33 seconds. And with that, we're at the Pokemon League, so we'll heal up whether we need to or not, and we'll say thank you to the HM friends. So it's a big thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. You've all been a great help in the Johto region. Get yourselves some well-deserved rest, while Stantler prepares to take on the Pokemon League. Before we enter the league, we'll look at our stats, and we're shaping up like this. Level 48 with 157 HP, holding the pink bow with Return, Earthquake, Hypnosis, and Hidden Power Ice. 132 in attack, 95 in defense, 121 in special attack, 102 in special defense, and 117 in speed. Those, of course, are the outer battle stats. We'll get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now against Will. He's our first league member, a Psychic-type specialist who leads with Xatu. Returns a one-shot on the Xatu, so he sends out Jinx. Once again, we get a one-shot with Return, and the third Pokemon is Executor. It's going to be a two-shot on Executor, and he does set up a Reflect. We get the option to learn Confuse Ray, which we decline, and now we're stuck a little bit against the Slowbro. So we're just going to have to brute force our way through the Slowbro. We do eventually knock it out, surviving on 71 HP. The Reflect fades will one-shot the final Xatu, and we are through Will in 59 minutes and 55 seconds. Second up is Koga, the Poison-type specialist who leads with Ariados. We get a very simple start because returns a one-shot, Venomoth goes down in much the same way, and here comes Fortress. Fortress is going to be a bit of an issue here because it loves to go boom. We try sending it to sleep, it doesn't work, but it knocks itself out, and we survive on 12. We one-shot the Muck, we grow to level 50, Crobat comes out, we gamble with return, we knock it out in 1, and we live to fight another day. Third up is Bruno. He's a fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. Bruno stalls with Protect on turn 1, which was kinda weird. We'll knock out the Hitmontop on turn 2. Hitmonlee goes down in 1, and here comes our guaranteed damage from Hitmonchan. We'll hit it harder back with a return though, and the next Pokemon is Machamp. We'll send it to sleep, we don't want to get cross-chopped. We use return, we take it deep into the red. He gets caught in a healing loop, so it doesn't matter if it wakes up. We knock it out with 2 further returns, Onyx comes out, we've got hidden power, we knock it out in 1, and we are through Bruno on our first try in 101.23. Our last league member is Karen, a dark type specialist who leads with Umbreon. It's a false start on turn 1 as we both miss, but we then send the Umbreon to sleep. We knock it out in 2 and we are not debuffed. Second up is Vileplume. We'll use return to one-shot, and the third Pokemon is Gengar. We've got Earthquake, so that's not a threat anymore. And then we'll swap back to return for Karen's last 2 Pokemon. It's a one-shot on Murkrow, a one-shot on Houndoom. We get through Karen first try in 1 hour, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. That means there's only one obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame. It's time for Lance the Lie with the Flyers, who leads with Gyarados. Returns a 2-shot on the Gyarados as he sets up the rain. That's great for us, it means we take no damage, and up next is one of the level 47 Dragonite. We knock it out in 1, we grow to level 52, the second level 47 comes out. That's another one-shot courtesy of Hidden Power Ice, and here comes Aerodactyl. We take some damage from an Ancient Power, but he doesn't get an Omni Boost. We knock it out with 1 further Hidden Power, and we'll swap to return for the Charizard. Flamethrower hits, it doesn't burn, we knock it out in 2. The last Pokemon is Dragonite, we knock it out with 1 Hidden Power Ice. We grow to level 53, and we defeat Lance in a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And that means our final Hall of Fame time is 1 hour, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That puts Stantler in 18th place through the Hall of Fame, but don't forget there's another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City as we always do, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. And with that safely tucked in our bag for another challenge, I am more than pleased to announce that Stantler is absolutely capable of taking on our standard Cantonian routing. That means we'll start here at Surge, we'll move over to Erica, it's down to Janine, then up to Sabrina, it's then to Cerulean for Misty, over to Pewter for Brock, down to Seafoam for Blaine, and we'll finish off with Blue. And talking of Blue, if you do want to skip ahead to the Blue fight, it's going to be happening at around about 15 minutes and 39 seconds. For everybody else, let's sit back, relax, and have our standard Cantonian chat. And the first thing to mention, it's around about a week and a half after I recorded the first part of the voiceover, so I really hope I've been able to keep the audio consistent. You may have noticed I was definitely coming down with something at the beginning of the voiceover here. I tried to persevere as much as I could to get through to the beginning of the Kanto chat, because that's the most natural breakpoint for me when I'm doing a voiceover. It's very awkward to stop anywhere before there, and I'd have to start the voiceover all over again, and you wouldn't get my genuine first-time voiceover, which is something I really enjoy here on the channel. Now, those of you who know me on stream know that I quite often come down with these little minor head colds. I'm immunocompromised, and that means every so often a bug does work its way into my system. The trouble is, a lot of the time it doesn't affect how I feel, so I can sound like death warmed up, but still be ready and raring to go, either to stream or to record voiceovers. So one thing I'm going to be thinking about in the new year is definitely taking rest when these little bugs take hold once again. But I'm sure if you've been with me since the very beginning of the channel, You know that from time to time I do sound a little bit raspy and a little bit hoarse. It's never anything to worry about though. It just means I've got another one of those low-lying infections that will just not disappear for love nor money. So I really do hope you'll all bear with me from time to time when these little infections rear their ugly heads once more. And I really hope it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the videos too much. I really enjoy having that first time experience with the voiceovers, because ever since I started creating content on the internet, goodness me, 15-16 years ago, I have always liked unplanned and unscripted ways of creating content. It's a little bit different when I do a video because I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to talk about ahead of time, but that's only because I played the challenge by this point, so I know what's coming up ahead. When we do the streams, however, especially with the backports, I have no idea how it's going to go. When we do the streams, however, I have no idea how anything's going to go, especially if it's a backport. And that's what I love the most. I love sharing the experience for the first time with all of you people out there. But the most important thing for me is I hope that my love of challenge running always shines through. It's something I've really got into and something I will never stop doing. Now let's rejoin the action here at Blue. He's our final gym leader together, a mixed type specialist who leads with Pidgeot. Even with the pink bow return, it's not a one-shot on Pidgeot, but we knock it out in 2. We do one-shot the Alakazam so we can move on to Rhydon. It's Earthquake versus Earthquake on turn 1 for Rhydon. We take it deep into the yellow, he takes us down to roughly the same. We'll finish it off with Hidden Power, and the next Pokemon is Gyarados. We'll use Return against the Gyarados on turn 1, we knock it out with a critical hit. The penultimate Pokemon is Exeggutor. It doesn't use Leech Seed, we knock it out in 2, and that brings us on to Arcanine. We use Return on turn number 1, it does the highest damage output, but we get burnt, and we have to take a reset. Extreme Speed would have knocked us out. That was just terrible luck. In theory, we should have been able to get away holding the pink bow in this battle, but 3 things stopped that from happening. Rhydon used Earthquake instead of Sandstorm, we critical hit the Gyarados to prevent the Rain Dance, and then Flamethrower burnt. That was just a combination of really terrible RNG when you're trying to get through and save time by not holding the leftovers. But we are now back onto that pesky Arcanine in much better shape. It uses Extreme Speed because the rain is up. That's what we wanted to happen first time. He gets caught in a healing loop, and even though we've been Leech Seeded, we will finish off the Arcanine, and that's our final badge in a time of 1 hour 18 minutes and 58 seconds. Let's now head into Silver Cave where Red is waiting for us. He is the final trainer of the challenge and he leads with Pikachu. We don't outspeed the Pikachu, so we're gonna have to Charm Dodge. We do it first try and we knock it out in 1, and here comes Espeon. Espeon goes straight for Psychic and then will knock us out in 2 turns. Let's use our first 3 rare candies. Up to 63 we go, we now outspeed Pikachu. No Charm Dodging anymore, we're only battling 5. We send the Espeon to sleep as it sets up Reflect. We're going to start chipping away at Return. We have status inflicting moves, so we're going to use them to our advantage in this battle. We get through Espeon, we send the Snorlax to sleep, and we've just got to hope we get through it without it waking up. But of course, much like the rest of the RNG in this challenge, it doesn't go our way. He wakes up, paralyzes us with Body Slam, so we'll use another 3 rare candies. The strategy is going to be exactly the same. We send the Espeon to sleep and we send the Snorlax to sleep. That's going to be our best chance of getting through. The big difference this time is that we didn't get a Reflect up. That means that Snorlax is going to be a much easier KO. Yes, we've taken some damage from Psychic, but we are comfortably in the green as the bear comes into play. Unfortunately though, Hypnosis just is not landing. We get knocked out, so we're going to use our last rare candies. Up to level 70 we go. Pikachu's a one-shot, we know that from the start. We're going to use Return on Espeon this time, we take it deep into the red, we knock it out in 2. Here comes Snorlax once more, we send it to sleep on turn number 1, and then it's going to start snoring. Snore's about the best possible move for Snorlax to use though. It's got the lower of the 2 damage outputs. We're going to keep chipping away at Return as it keeps chipping away at us with Snore. We survive in the green as Venusaur comes out. This is going to be a free turn of healing. We can two-shot with Psychic. The sun is up though, and that could be pretty dangerous. That means we have to send Charizard to sleep. Hypnosis connects first time, so we can knock it out with 2 returns. That means we're almost at full health for the final Blastoise. We don't have to play it safe, we can play it a little bit riskier. That means it's straight to return, it's going to be a 3-shot, we defeat Blastoise, and we are through red in 1 hour, 23 minutes and 6 seconds. That saves just under 26 minutes and puts us in a very nice 15th place on the leaderboard. We are tied with Poliwrath, but because this is a redo, we go 1 place below. That puts Noctowl in the page 3 drop zone, and the new leader of page 3 is the original Girafarig challenge. Octillery had better watch out, it's now in the page 4 drop zone, and heading up page 4 we have a new leader with Magneton. Please do spare a thought for poor old Shuckle. It's down there paired with Magcargo all the way down in 105th place, and our 15th place time means there's no change to the top 10. It's still Dodrio in first, Ho-Oh in second, Pidgeot in third, and Lugia is dangling in the page 1 drop zone. But with that, we are done. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure to leave it a like. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more just like this, click the subscribe button. And until next time when it's Walrein and Emerald, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.